In this video, we will look at array and object destructuring in JavaScript. In JavaScript, destructuring is a convenient way to extract values from objects and arrays. It allows you to unpack values from arrays or properties from objects into distinct variables. So first of all, let's start with array destructuring. So I'll define an array quickly, an array of fruits, and then put some fruits there, banana, cherry, and then mango, and save. So this is my array of fruits. So in order to destructure individual elements from this array, or first of all, in order to access the individual elements of this array, I can write the name of the array and then access the elements of the array using what? Their indexes. So when I go to my terminal and then use node to run my file, we get what? The element printed out. So when I want to access the second one, I have to go ahead and change this to 1, 2, 3 using their indices. But with destructuring, I can just destructure this quickly. Let me show you how I'll do this. And then I'll say this is the first fruit, or maybe I can say apple fruit, and then maybe banana fruit here, then cherry fruit. I'll just destructure the first 3, and then I'll console.log apple fruit, console.log banana fruit, and then finally console.log cherry fruit. And when I go back to my terminal, clear it, and run my file again with node, we get what? The fruits printed in my terminal: apple, banana, and cherry. So this is how we can use destructuring to unpack elements or values from an array into their distinct variables. The next thing we'll look at is skipping elements, or how you can skip an item. So let's say I want to skip the banana fruit. I can just remove the name and then put just comma there, and then I'll comment this out because we don't have the banana fruit again. Other than that, I'll get what? An error. So when I clear the terminal quickly and run my file again, it will print what? Apple and then cherry, because you have just skipped the banana fruit. So this is how you can skip an item whenever you are doing array destructuring. Now, one thing we can also do is that what? We can assign default values to elements in an array. So let's say I'll just destructure the mango fruit, and then I'll just put a default fruit name here called pear. So when I run my code, first of all, let me console.log the mango fruit here. When I run my code, let me comment this one to out so that we focus on only the default value, and run my code quickly. We get to at mango because it is present in the array. But when I go ahead and then remove the mango fruit from the array and run my code again, you see that pear is printed in the terminal because that's the default value I have assigned to it. So that's how we can set default values to an item in what? In an array destructuring. The next thing we want to look at is how to use the rest operator to collect the remaining items in an array. So I'll just go ahead and then undo this to add my mango fruit, and then comment this one out so that we'll look at the rest operator. So the rest operator is used to collect what? The remaining items in an array. So it can be used like this. So I'll just say const. So I'll say first fruit, second, let me write that properly, and then assign it to what? The fruit array, and save. So I can console.log the first, and then I'll just put the second to here. And when I go to my terminal, clear it, and run my file, we get what? The first fruit and second fruit, which are what? Banana and then apple. So I am not console.logging, or I'm not what? Accessing or destructuring the rest of the fruit. So we can use what? The rest operator, which is triple dots 1, 2, 3, and then put a variable name. I'll just say other fruits here, and save. And when I go ahead Sorry, not here. I don't mean to put that here, not in the console.log. Sorry for that. It's supposed to be here, which is 1, 2, 3. That's the dot, the rest operator, and I'll put other fruits here and save. And then I'll just console.log other fruits and run my file. First of all, let me clear it quickly and then run it again. So you see that other fruit is what? Taken as what? An array, or an array on its own and printed in the terminal. So that's what the rest operator does. So the rest operator is identical to the spread operator, which we'll talk about in a separate video. So we can use the rest operator to unpack or pack other values or items from an array into their own what? Array. So that's it. So when I go on and add, let's say, another fruit here called a pear, and then run my code again, you see that the pear will be added to what? The rest of the fruits that have been destructured or unpacked. So that is it about the array destructuring. The next thing I want us to look at, let me comment these things out quickly and clear my terminal. Let me just clear this quickly. The next thing, and close it. The next thing I want us to look at is the object destructuring. So I'll just go ahead and define an object quickly. So I'll say const person, a person object, put the name here of Bob, the age of 30, and then the city of New York, and save. So this is my person what? Object. So let's look at how we can destructure the properties from this person object. So it also goes like this. Over here we use what? Curly brackets, and then we assign it to what? The person object. So here we can destructure, unlike the array destruction whereby we can use any variable to represent our elements or items. Over here we have to write the exact properties, okay, the exact keys that are in the object. So over here I'll put the name, and you see that my text editor is even giving me auto completion, the age, and then what? The city, and save. So over here I have destructured the elements from this, the properties from this object using their keys, and then I can console.log the name, or console.log the age. Let me just put this on one line quickly so that we don't have too much in the console. So the age, and then what? The city, and save. When I go to my terminal and run my file again, we see that the values are printed. The name, which is Bob, the age, which is 30, and then the city, which is what? New York. So this is how we can destructure from what? An object. So let's say I change the name to, let's say, first name. We'll get an error because first name, and save. We'll get an error when I try printing out first name in my terminal. We'll get an error because first name is not a property. You see, we get undefined because first name is not a property in the person object. So you make sure that whenever you are doing object destructuring, you should first of all start with what? Curly bracket, and then you should access or destructure the properties based on the keys in the object. Now with object destructuring, we can rename the properties. So you can rename the variables while destructuring. So let's say here is name. I can rename it to what? First name, and therefore now I have access to first name. When I clear my terminal and rerun my file quickly, you see that now we don't get undefined because I've renamed it to what? First name, using what? The colon and then the variable or the alias to it. So now when I try printing or console.logging name, we'll get what? Undefined. Or you can see that we are even getting an error, or name is not defined in the what? In the code. So make sure that whenever you rename or provide an alias to it, let me clear my console quickly and run my file so that we get the result. The next thing we'll look at is default values, how to provide default values. So just like array destructuring, we can use the equal to sign and provide a default value whilst destructuring. So I'll just say USA for the city as the default value. So when I go ahead and run my code, we don't get any error. We get New York because the city has been provided when I console.log this out and then run my file again, you see that we get USA. We don't get undefined or any error. We get USA because we have provided a default value whilst what destructuring. Now, I want us to look at nested destructuring. So I'll just go ahead and then comment this out and define another object. Let me just close the terminal. I'll define another object called employee so that we can look at nested destructuring. So this employee object has a name of, let's say, Alice. That is supposed to be a string. Alice, it has a position property of what? Developer. And then has an address property, which is what? A nested object whereby we have the city here of, let's say, USA. And then the state. Let me just put CA here and save. What else? I think that's okay. So let's look at how we can destructure this nested object. So the same syntax, so we say const, and then in curly bracket, we want to destructure the name. First of all, let me assign it to the employee object quickly. So we can destructure the name and then comma, the address. Over here, I can destructure, since it is a nested object, I can destructure the city, and VS Code is even giving us auto completion, and then the state. So I can destructure the city and the state. The reason why I'm getting this error here is because I already have a city here. So let me just comment this out quickly. Other than that, it will redeclare that variable, reference to constant variable, which will result in an error. Now you see that the error is gone. So this is how you can destructure a nested object. Now I can go ahead and then console.log, let's say the name, then comma, the address, not the address, the city, because you have destructured it, so we can access it from our object. So I'll just do that and then go to my terminal, clear it quickly, and then run my file. Hopefully we get the results printed out in the console. So that's it about what? Destructuring, array and object destructuring in JavaScript, which is very useful and powerful way in that simplifies the process of extracting values from arrays and objects, making your code cleaner and more readable. That's all for this video. Please follow and subscribe and like for more videos and contents like this. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.